Hello again there, guys. My name is Michael. We're going to be continuing on today in the Forest of Fallen Giants. But first, we're going to talk to Malencia. What do you got? She seems pretty crazy. And she sells some basic items. Hand axe, which we've got upstairs. Not great. Broken straight sword. Useless. The club is actually one of the best weapons in the game. And I'm going to say that again. The club is one of the best weapons in the entire game. Or at least in the start of the game, I should say, not in the entire game. It's great. It has amazing scaling at A. The moveset is excellent. And it's just an all-around great weapon. Mysteriously, though, we're still using that ridiculous kind of fancy, artful style of attack, even though this is not just, a heavy mallet or mace. This is actually just a club. It's a baseball bat or a stick, and you look way too fancy using it. This is a ridiculous set of armor. You look like an idiot wearing it. Please don't wear it. The traveling merchant hat does, however, have the ability to increase item discovery, so you'll get better drops with that. But it's not very good at that. And, like I said, you look kind of ridiculous. I'm going to buy a firebomb, because I have use for it later. I will show you. I'm also going to buy this. This is the blacksmith's key, which will allow us to get into the Lendegrass's blacksmith shop and buy items and have him upgrade our stuff there, so that's very good. And nothing else we really need right now. And she does still 2 basic spells, which sounds crazy. Why does she... In the other games, you had to go to a spell teacher. It was unusual to get spells, but maybe they kind of nerfed spells. What am I saying? They made soul arrows stronger. Well, anyway. Never mind. Let's talk to her.
My name is Malencia. You're strange to this land. Oh, we get as strangers these days. Everybody's gone and run off.
Well, they're undead.
Wranglake's been up to fire the rubble since the war fought long, long ago. And the giants crossed the sea.
I love that moment. That's one of the rare times that this game has really got me with something about the lore. I really, really like that when the giants cross the sea.
Seemed like the battles would never end. Poor folk like myself had nary a place to sleep. I swear I'll keep all me things right with me. You may travel light, but methinks you bear a burden of your own.
Malencia will eventually travel back to, I almost said the Nexus, I'm losing my mind, to Majula, where she could provide us with basic items. That's a huge lore drop right there. Now, she will only move, however, when we defeat the area boss for this level. Whoa. Kind of sounded kind of disgusting there. Alright. I don't know if we can quite see her face. Anyway. That was a pretty huge lore drop there about why did the giants transform into trees? What exactly are these trees here? I mean, I'm not exactly sure what arch trees were in the first game. Is that related to them, or why are they turning into these trees? Why is this statue speckled with blood? Let's move on. There's going to be a guy hiding near here, right in front of us. He's going to be pretending, and he's going to try to lure us to go over and attack him, when really he's the close danger. That guy's using a halberd, which we can get later on in this level. And another hiding guy. Soul, I think. Yeah, just a basic soul. We can't actually get down there to the bottom of all this until later when we get that ring I told you about that allows you to survive falls. You can actually see those disgusting little creatures. Those guys, you see those eyes there? That kind of reminds me of the Adachi boss, I think it was, at the end of Persona 4, with those weird moving eyes. Yeah. Tragically, though, there isn't really anything of much use down there. I mean, I wish there was, but I haven't really found any plausible use for the crap down there. So there's not really a reason to go, and I tend not to. But I will, in another level. What the hell was that? Seriously? Are you kidding me? What the hell was that? Oh my god. That was a load of crap. Another hiding guy. We cannot go in this door over here until we beat the boss, called the Last Giant. This is another big gank area where a bunch of enemies try to attack you at one time. There are a bunch of enemies to our right that we can't really get to at the moment, who will try to attack us when we go up and attack enemies up here. So that's fun. You can kind of sneak up on these guys and get a backstab, but I don't really feel like it. Is this guy up here yet? Come on. Come on, I'm up here. Come on. Hey. Alright. Now the reason we bought a firebomb back there, and we'll show you this now, is because of that. You see that over there? Those are black exploding barrels. They're sort of filled with pitch or tar or some other flammable material. And that guy up there throws firebombs down. You can bait him on hitting those, but you can also just throw one yourself. And now we have a shortcut back to Malentia. We don't have to go through that underground area before, which is very handy early on. Getting rid of this guy is going to be a bit of a chore, because I do not care for him. That guy's also a spear user, if you know. He can, spears in this game, we didn't get one yet, so we didn't talk about them. They can actually attack from behind the spear. So they get the defense of the spear, while also be able to hit you with a weapon, which usually you cannot do. That halberd guy I don't think is going to aggro, no he won't. The reason I'm coming over here and clearing these guys out is because up this ladder is an early game boss. Not the boss I was talking about before, but another boss for this area. His name is the Pursuer, and he's maybe the most unique boss in the game in terms of how you get to him, because you just walk up this ladder and he attacks you. He's not a terribly difficult boss, but that's always amended by difficult boss for a Soul game. He's not very difficult. And I think they maybe intended him to make him harder, but alack, he is not. Tragically, you also cannot get his armor. And if you look at it, it looks pretty cool. I mean, I want that armor. And you can get, again, most of the armor in the game, but this guy's no. And it's so obviously cool, and it was at the beginning of the game. Why didn't they have time to get the armor? Oh dear. And you can get his sword and shield. That sword, by the way, the Pursuer's sword, is actually one of the best weapons in the game. It's really, really good. Well, maybe they changed his moveset a bit. That little blue thing he was doing there will curse you, which means it takes away a piece of your maximum health. And that can be very dangerous, along with doing a lot of basic damage, too. So I may die to him. Now, if you don't defeat him here, he will actually show up and stay in one other section of the game. However, I try to fight him here, because, well, it's just easier. It's right next to a bonfire. It's not super difficult. There are some odd hitbox issues, but if hitbox issues turn you off, you shouldn't be playing Dark Souls 2, because there are a lot of hitbox issues. And his hitbox issues are nothing compared to the hitbox issues of the other boss in this level, who is downright unfair. You can actually parry him, too, but you cannot riposte him. So it's just kind of a bit of swagger if you see someone do that. There's ultimately no point to it. And you actually get a pretty good ring if you defeat this guy. Now, when I first saw him, I thought they wasted... Like, they had a huge opportunity to make something cool here with this guy. And they just didn't take it. Why didn't they, why didn't they go the full mile? I mean, he has this entire pack full of weapons back there. And I immediately thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if you're fighting him, and like with every couple of swings, he pulls out a new weapon, so like 2 with the sword, and then he pulls out an axe, and he hits you with the axe. And he pulls out a spear, and then he pulls out a bow or something. That would be great if you could do that with, if he had that pack doing a bunch of things, but tragically, it does not. Also, his shield looks okay, but it doesn't really look good on you, because there's some wonky hitboxes with that stab too, by the way, so don't be so cavalier as I was there. I wouldn't be. Towards hitting that guy. But anyway, it just could have been so much cooler, and that shield, you actually hold it, weirdly enough, like at your foot. It doesn't look like he's holding it, up around his waist. You're holding it sort of from your feet to your, to the middle of your chest, and it doesn't look right. It looks kind of weird, like you're holding it on the ground. So yeah, they really should have fixed that. This boss could have been so much more. You actually fight him in a couple of extra areas in the game, which is sort of weird, and I think they maybe changed his original story device. Originally, he was maybe supposed to be following you around Lordran or something like Lordran, Dren Lake, and trying to hunt you down. He was also dropped off, you may have noticed. I don't think I showed this because I was looking away, but he's actually dropped off for the fight by a gigantic crow or raven or something. And that is a huge lore significant item from Dark Souls 1 because there is a gigantic raven or crow. Yeah, elk is crow, right? Crow that drops you off at the beginning of the game that was probably brought there by a god of sin. So is that related to that at all? Is that related in any way? I'm going to say probably not. Now this next area that we're going to do is actually kind of difficult. And I may die along the way. I don't know. What you really should do is come back over here with a bow and arrow and pick off these guys one at a time. You can also be hit while trying to jump over there by one of the characters with a bow and be knocked off the edge to your death. So this is pretty dangerous, what I'm about to do. I may die, but whatever. It's okay. Just go down here. That guy fell off. That was nice. Jump over here. It's that guy. That guy can hit you, and this happened to me, I think, more than once, as I was leaping over there and trying to land here, and knocked me off. He sort of stopped me midway, and I fell down there to my death. Now, I know what I did was just a little complicated, but I couldn't really explain it at the time. You did roll over there, walk across the bridge, and jump down here. You may want to bring a homeward bone just in case. Now, I went in here the first time, and this killed me. I'm going to see if there's a message for this. No. Let's see. Listen to this. Trap ahead boulder. Yeah, a giant rock was tossed down here, apparently by Wily Coyote. I don't know how that happened or why. I don't know why the guy up there did it, if he did it. Who knows? This next guy is Cale. Everyone hates Cale, both the vegetable and the person. He's obnoxious and pointless, and I don't like him. And he's got a stupid hat. Let's talk to him.
I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming. My name is Cale.
You're a hollow.
I'm a traveler, like yourself.
You're a zombie. You're a hollow. You know you are.
I'm navigating the continent to create a map.
Oh?
Why cartography, you ask?
No, why are you rooting around on the floor in crap? That's what I want to know.
When I first came into this forsaken land, it was
You really forget the undead curse, the one thing dominating your life?
I seem to have lost my focus.
I guess he's just really going insane in Hollow now.
I have always been very fond of maps.
Just like Bilbo.
I
Okay.
came to this land some time ago.
Seems like a long time ago.
Drang Lake, the Lost Kingdom. It sounded so romantic. Have you seen Majula? Well, there's a rather spacious mansion there.
I saw it.
My temporary home. Well, had something of a squatter. Inside the mansion, I found a strange map.
It's, Melentia mentioned before that she witnessed the final war between the giants and Drang Lake that broke the kingdom. But I initially thought that maybe she had been alive and maybe a child at the time, that it happened less than a century ago. But now I'm not so sure. I'm thinking that the history of this world is that maybe Drang Lake was broken and destroyed as a kingdom by the giants, but other kingdoms surrounding it still existed and were still around for a while, and they eventually fell to war and the undead cursed themselves.
Wonderful. Then you're fascinated by maps, just like me.
Yeah, well, a little bit.
Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here. Incredible, really, isn't it? Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I would not venture deep into the mansion, but I can't be certain. But I've heard disturbing noises. Something about it feels wrong. Just be careful, please.
That's a hint that there's a monster in the mansion. It's just a skeleton that we have to kill. Now, if we go back and open up that mansion and kill that monster, he will show up in Majula. Cale is pretty fucking pointless. He doesn't do a whole lot. It's mostly just lore stuff, and not even very interesting lore stuff, I felt. What he's talking about with that map is there's some sort of strange stone carving on the ground of that mansion, and inside that mansion, and it seems to be related to the bonfires. Like every time you light one of the bonfires, it seems to show up on the map. And if you light all of them, he gives you his equipment, which is, it can be used for something later on to get a great spell, but I don't even remember what's down there. I don't think it's very important. I will look it up and see if it is important, but I doubt it is. It doesn't look very useful. And I think you have to jump down there, and I think you can survive without the cat ring. It's just... Oh, that's a spear guy. It's just not that easy, and it's not that useful. Also, I forgot to show you this, which I will in a moment. What we got for defeating the Pursuer. We got not only his soul, which will give us quite a few souls if we were to pop that, I think several thousand. He gave us the Ring of Blades. And the Ring of Blades, oh Lord. Ring of Blades is modeled after the Mad Knight of Aiken's weapon of choice. Increases physical attack. The kingdoms of Aiken and Ven long ago flourished on these very grounds. Did they add something there in the description? Maybe. They were both founded by the same man, but were reduced to rivalry and spite. What the Ring of Blades does is increases physical damage you do with your weapon. And it's not by a percent, it's by a set amount. But it's still useful to have on. Okay, let's just travel back to Majula. I'm just going to end the episode in Majula, going through down into that mansion, and also getting a few upgrades with the Maiden in Black. I'm losing my mind. Not the Maiden in Black, the Emerald Herald. And I'm going to show you Lenderos. Yeah.
I'm a blacksmith. Bring me that key. Chop chop.
Like I don't chop your head off for talking to me like that. And in this chest we get... That's right. A short bow. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you have to go you have to talk to him and then go rest, I think. Now when we rest at the bonfire, he's going to go into there, and he will be our blacksmith and upgrade our weapons and sell us some pretty neat items. Now this short bow, this is something that really, I'm going to have to go in a bit of a spiel about this here, but this is something that really bugged me about this game. In Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, you can both get a very powerful bow very quickly if you knew where to look. Demon Souls is a little bit harder, and in Dark Souls you can get a longbow almost for free right away. And the fact that you can do that means you can start leveling up the longbow pretty quickly if you plan on using it. And you can actually, not only that, in Dark Souls 1 you can get the best bow in the game, the Black Bow of Ferris, very quickly, within a couple of hours of playing the game. Probably much less if you really were focused on getting just that item. But I mean, if you were, playing normally, it would be just a couple of hours and you can go grab it and start upgrading the best bow in the game. In here, though, they've given you a free short bow at the beginning, which is nice, yeah, but the short bow is kind of useless ultimately, and is not that much different stat requirements between this and the long bow. I think it's 12 dexterity to use the short bow, and 16 dexterity to use the long bow. But the next bow that we can get in the game, and unless we get really lucky and get it as an item drop, is very far away. It's almost to the point where we get one of the Lord Souls in the Iron Key, where we can unlock one of these items. It is ridiculously far away before you can get a longbow, and even longer. You have to kill all 4 of the Lord Souls before you can get the black bow. The Hunter's Black Bow, it's called in this game. Essentially, the Black Bow of Ferris. It takes so darn long to get there. It's crazy. Why in the world would you have to wait that long to get such a critical item, especially if you plan on doing a run-through where you just use bows? And you don't absolutely have to wait that with some bows. There's something else called the Sea Bow that you get to drop in another area that's past the Tower of Hyde there. And I have gotten that as a drop like once. It's very hard to get, and it's not substantially different from the short bow that I could see, and not better than the longbow. I mean, the longbow is obviously what you really wanted, and you should be able to get that right away. Maybe not absolutely right away. Maybe you have to defeat the first area or something, I can see. But come on. They pointlessly locked that off, and I think that's ridiculous. I'm going to go to the mansion now, and we can get that other Estus Flask shard. And I will show you this. I almost forgot about that. My original playthrough, I didn't actually find him right away. Because this is a Metroidvania game and you can go wherever you feel like. I defeated the last giant, one of the bosses in that level, and just left and did not come back for hours and hours and hours and just completely forgot about it. Let's see about this here. The Witching Urn. I'm going to show you this. It's just like the Firebomb, except it does magic damage. Hello, Mr. Skeleton. This guy is not especially difficult. However, he can parry you, which can be a real problem. And an interesting fact about these guys is that every new game cycle you play, there's an extra 1 in here. So if you're at New Game Plus 8, there's actually 8 skeletons in here, and it can get pretty difficult. And they all drop human effigies. Here's the shard. This, I don't even know if I want to talk about this right away, because this is really complicated and confusing, and I've yet to see it satisfactorily explained. But this is a critical plot item in Dark Souls 1 called the Lord Vessel that for some reason has been left shattered here in this mansion. God knows why. It makes very little sense. Ooh, look how fancy and ornate this chest is. Okay, this is not usually what you're going to find in this chest. This is actually a promotional thing that they're doing right now that this is released. You're not usually going to find those awesome items in there. In fact, especially the Great Club, that item, I mean, that essentially breaks the game for a strength character, because that's one of the best items, one of the best strength weapons in the entire game. It's amazing. I can't use it yet, but oh, I can use it two-handed. Oh my god, I can use it two-handed. Look at this. This is a gigantic wooden club that really makes me feel like I'm playing as a barbarian or some kind of caveman, which I really love to do. This one is different from the normal one you get in the game. This is a special promotional version that has the tip coated in blood, and I think it looks really cool. And it has a hilarious attack. Look at this. Yeah, you can be Fred Flintstone. That, well, I don't know if I haven't decided whether I'm going to use that weapon yet. That would kind of be breaking the game if I did. But, I don't know, I'll think about it. This is some Titanite shards, which are very useful right now for upgrading your weapon. Oh, and some torches. There are those goblin guys. Oh my god, do they see me? Don't see me. Okay, I'm gonna go rest at the bonfire so they unaggro, because these guys will actually follow you around the level. It's crazy. They'll do that. Let's see if I can go do something here. I'm gonna talk to this man.
Oh, hello again.
And I'm just going to buy the Twin Dragon Great Shield. Really the Eagle Shield. I don't think I can use this. I think you need 20 strength to use it. Yeah. But it looks cool. I'm a big fan of classical history, and as a fan of ancient history, I like the Great Shields in this game. I think they look incredible, and I like using these tower shields because it reminds me more of the ancient world. I wonder why that is. I should look that up and see why it is that... Sage Frake, what are you doing here? No, I'm kidding. I should look up why shields began to get smaller over the centuries from where they were in the ancient world to in the 14 or 1500s. Bucklers were still around and targes, but not much beyond that. I'm going to go talk to our good friend Lendegrass right here.
You. The name's Lendegrass. Just a simple blacksmith. And you are? Another useless traveler. A man ought to labor with his feet, not roam around.
I'm skipping through this dialogue because I frickin' don't like this guy.
Go on, show me what you
The blacksmith in Dark Souls 1, Andre, was a really good character, and everybody liked Andre of Astora. However, in this game, well, I knew Andre of Astora, sir, and you are no Andre of Astora. Let's look at some of the items he sells. You can now get basic wooden arrows. They are very cheap in this game. In Dark Souls 1, they were not quite as cheap, and in Demon Souls, they were even more expensive. So I'm going to just buy a couple here, in case I need them. He will sell the Titanite shards, the thing that we'll see and reinforce. They reinforce your weapons to +1, then +2, then +3, etc. You can't get above +3, though, without a new kind of reinforcement item that we do not have just yet. I have 4 right now. Repair powder restores the durability on your weapons. In late game, I'm usually carrying around like 20 or 30 of these, so I don't have to worry about my weapon breaking mid-fight or mid-exploration, which is crap. But it's very expensive right now, so it's not really worth buying. Let's take a look at the early weapons. The longsword, you saw the moveset of, I have right now. It is a very good moveset early on in the game. I really like it, especially that two-handed thrust attack. This is a very useful weapon for the start of the game. The broadsword is alright. It's not quite as good because I don't think it has depth thrust like the longsword does. It has a little bit more damage, but not enough to really make it worthwhile. The falchion is a great weapon. I love this weapon. However, it's more of a dex weapon, so I'm not going to be using that in this game. It's fantastic, though. It saw me through quite a few playthroughs of Demon Souls, and they mysteriously locked it away in Dark Souls 1 to... I mean, it's not that hard to get to it, but it's kind of far away. It's tedious to get to it early on in the game because you have to go down to Blighttown. And they should just sell this at the basic blacksmith, so I like that they did this in this game. The Estoc is a very good weapon, probably better in Dark Souls 1, though, because it was a dex weapon in that game and a strength weapon in this one. The Estoc is a historical weapon that is used for thrusting. It is used for jabbing and hopefully puncturing enemy armor to sort of like smash, to sort of not smash through it, but pierce it with the thrusting attack, and typically I think it was used two-handed. I think this was actually in Symphony of the Night, too. You can also hold up a shield, I think, with this one, and pierce behind it. Yeah, even inflict damage on... well, no. I don't know if you can do that with the thrust with this weapon. The rapier is a pretty good weapon, but I don't know if I would recommend this for the starting class. In Demon Souls, this is a great starting weapon, but in this game, it doesn't necessarily do that much damage. It really could be better, I think, in this game. I would say probably don't go with the rapier. Even though you can attack with your shield up and get the extra defense, it doesn't have that great range. And you have to be very precise where you're poking away at an enemy with it. And on bosses, I don't think it's going to be that useful. It might make the regular enemies easier and the bosses harder with this one, so I would say no to that. The mace is an excellent weapon, better probably than the Morning Star. It has better scaling, you can get it up to an A. You can enchant this one because it doesn't have a bleed effect. I think it has the same moveset as the Morning Star, but it's just all around a better weapon. The Battle Axe is not a great weapon. It does do some fairly good... It can stagger enemies a little bit easier, especially I noticed this in Dark Souls 1. In this game, the moveset is not fantastic, the scaling isn't great, the damage isn't great, it's a little slower than the swords. I wouldn't bother with this one. The spear is a pretty darn good weapon. They changed spears significantly in this game to make them pretty much all dex weapons, or virtually all of them scale very highly with dex to encourage you to use them. One of the things that I love about all these games is that you can use spears, which usually get a miss from other fantasy games. I don't think any of the Dragon Age games you can use spears. Can you use spears in Elder Scrolls? Maybe, but I don't think they really got them right, except in this game. It's actually fantastic that you can use these. And like the rapier, you can thrust out behind a shield with this weapon, which makes it really useful. So yeah, I mean, go with the longsword, or, I mean, you probably have the broadsword, so longsword, if you're playing as a knight, you might have the broadsword. Falchion is an excellent weapon. The Astak is a pretty good weapon. The mace is an excellent weapon. The rapier is, it's okay. Battle Axe I would avoid. Spear, that's pretty good, if you're a dex character. We don't need to repair any items. This is where you go to upgrade your weapon. You see where it says, it goes from a 78 to the blue one, the 86. We can upgrade this one and make it a little bit too easy, but we're not going to do that right now. That's a bit too much. We don't need to go that far into making this game super easy.
I'll be around if you make it back.
I'm going to pop over to Moglin and see if his expanded set of equipment has opened up yet. Just checking that. Oh, I think it has.
I was hoping that you would come. I've stocked some new things and I thought that you might be interested.
Really?
They're selling rather well, and I may step up operations. I'm surprising even myself.
I like this, that you give him a little bit of extra encouragement, and he becomes fantastic. I mean, look at this. You can get the Elite Knight armor. I love this armor. It is maybe my favorite armor in Dark Souls 1, and it's great here. It looks amazing in this game with the cloth physics. So, he will continue to stock extra items as you defeat bosses. I don't think I'm going to get the Elite Knight armor, because I used that fairly recently. I'm not going to use that. So I really think that is probably where I'm going to call this episode a wrap. We're going to be continuing with the Forest of Fallen Giants later. My name is Michael, and I will see you then.